Melanie, wanted to ask you to here. Again, we had this whole conversation several weeks ago about the guns. Asa Ellerup now is requesting those guns that are legally obtained between her and her husband back. What does this do to the gun?
Hell to the no. She's not getting those guns because now, based on these two affidavits, we have learned that he had a gun, right? In each of the affidavits. Well, there were 4 witnesses that came forward.
Did you just say?
Oh, hell no.
You did.
I said, hell to the no. Yeah. I don't want to copy your buzzer there, but I've been saying this all along. No way in hell she was ever going to get those guns back. And it was shocking to me that they were even considering giving her those guns back.
Now, according to this affidavit, he used a handgun and pretended to be a cop.
Right.
Okay. So again, we got to run this all down. You can't just ignore this now. You can't just say, oh, this guy's an EDP. Okay. He's got affidavits that the task force has to run the ground now.
Yeah. And Ed, you and I said this we did a live stream about these guns. And we made a mention of it and we got crucified. People are like, oh, how dare you? She's just trying to survive. She doesn't want the gun. She wants him to go to a firearms dealer and she's never going to see the gun. She just wants the money. How do we know that? Nobody knows that. If she's looking to obtain these firearms back, it's up to her if they're legally obtained to do what she wants with them.
Right. Well, the guns are part of an estate, right? So she has legal access to those guns. Well, she has a legal right to them. Let's just put it that way. Right now, she has no access to those guns.
Right,
They're in custody.
Yes. So EDP, Sue asked, she said it differently. She said EDB. It's EDP, emotionally disturbed person. That's what we were referring to. And now we're not saying that John Ray is an emotionally disturbed person. We're just saying that that's how the police were treating him, as he was just a wacky cuckoo guy. I all along said to myself, there is some validity to what he's saying, because I knew that he was interviewing people who were close in with these sex workers. And when we as police detectives, I don't know how closely you got involved with this, but we always ran into scenes, and Ed, you've been to scenes where there are sex workers involved in shootings and homicides.
Oh yeah, I've been in homicides in let's see, what's the right word now?
Don't use the right word, just say it.
Whorehouses.
Thank you. So that's what I'm saying, is that when we do these investigations and involve sex workers at whorehouses or whatever establishments where there's illicit activity going on, people wind up getting shot. People wind up getting stabbed. People wind up getting killed. And then we as detectives now have to interview all the people who were around, who were at the location. So John Ray is essentially doing the same thing, interviewing people who were friends, who were colleagues, or whatever you want to call them, associates, and he was getting all of this crazy things that we would think are crazy, but they were in fact in their worlds is normal activity, normal behavior. But we learned so much today. We learned that Rex Heuermann is bisexual. He has sex with women and men. And we found that out today in shocking form with a press conference with the Suffolk County Police Commissioner standing right beside John Ray as he said it. And you know what, Ed, I looked at Rodney Harrison many different times at different press conferences in regards to Gilgo, and he seemed uncomfortable today.
You can see it. You can definitely see it. After you can see it in some of the statements that were made, and he was cringing. I mean, he couldn't hide it.
Mm-hmm.
If he could have ran away, he would have ran away.
He actually tried to end that press conference.
Yeah.
Melanie, I know you homed in on that. Did you sense that Suffolk County Police Commissioner at certain points felt uncomfortable there?
He looked really uncomfortable. And you know what else? This whole thing, all of this John Ray stuff. And the reason I met John Ray was because of the James Burke case. So I met John Ray when I was in court for James Burke, who, as you recall, was at Bald Hill and got arrested for doing some unsavory, also bisexual things. So you know who else is bisexual? Jimmy Burke.
Well, that's what he
And
said today.
all of this is now going to tie together. I think we're going to see, and people have been saying all along for 20 years that Jimmy Burke may have been involved in this Shannon Gilbert thing. And now you got all these ties that are sort of weaving themselves together. And everyone thought John Ray was crazy, but for some reason, people come to him and they would rather speak to him sometimes than maybe go to law enforcement because they're afraid.
He's not judging either.
And apparently this young lady who was a swinger with her police lover there that she said she was in love with didn't realize that the police officer was by, because according to the allegation, he went with Rex.
Yeah.
Right.
So it really, things that make you go, And it's 35 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing. And I know that you guys have seen this press conference, but there's certain parts of it that I do want to play. Again, the big takeaways, or these 4 people who were from out of state, not Long Island ties, were in Long Island at one point or another, obviously, to give these statements, right? We know that the taxi driver / banker by day, cab driver by night, she is now out of state, but she was interviewed and deposed by John Ray and Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison. And it was funny to hear John Ray call Commissioner Harrison by his wrong last name. And then he quickly made a correction, but he did it twice. He called him Rodney Harris.
Now that one portion of her affidavit where Rex pretended to be a cop and had a gun, he got out of the car and then went off into the woods and fired the gun allegedly. But also the Suffolk County Police responded, right? So you're going to have records from the cabbie dispatch, right? Because she was dispatched by a phone call to that location to pick up a young lady, and Rex got in the car, okay, and she described him. And then the Suffolk County Police came by and she had an interaction with him after Rex got out of the car. Right. So there's got to be record there to show the validity of the statements here.
100%. And that's the thing, is they are going to have the 911 dispatch to the police, the RMP that went out there, the Radio Patrol. And the police commissioner alluded to that in this press conference. Deidre, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. We have just so many people supporting, and we give you so much thanks and praise for the support. We never take it for granted, and we thank you for being supporters here on Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Liz, thank you for the $10 super chat. And she says, my favorite crew on panel. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Darlene Wolf, a great friend and a former EMS. She lived in Long Island. So Darlene, thank you for being a supporter. We greatly appreciate it. Roger still says, who plays Johnny Ray in the movie?
Johnny Depp. I go for Johnny Depp.